Tonight, all about the Iowa caucus. We finally got results. Plus, stories from 2 of Storm Lake's caucus sites, including a bilingual location.
And a breakthrough international film makes history. Who else took home Oscars at the 92nd Annual Academy Awards? Grab your popcorn. That answer and more coming up on this edition of BVTV News. From BVTV Studios on the campus of Buena Vista University in Storm Lake, Iowa, this is BVTV News. One of the biggest days of the presidential election cycle brought events to Storm Lake and to BV's campus. Welcome to the first BVTV News of 2020. I'm Guy Tannenbaum. Jaden Anderson leads off our team coverage of the 2020 Iowa Caucus.
On February 3rd, 126 people gathered at Buena Vista University for the Democratic Caucus at Precinct 4. The citizens of Storm Lake, Iowa were able to voice their opinions on who they believe would be best to go against President Trump in November.
I'm attending the caucus because I'm supporting Pete Buttigieg, and I think this is a great way to be involved in the, politics of our country right now.
You know, it's just great to see such a diverse and broad range of people participating. There were young, there were older, there were people of various ethnicities, various points of view. I have to say I would like to see more young people involved.
Jim Eliason, Buena Vista County Democratic Party Chair and permanent chair of the Precinct 4 Caucus, explains his view on how the night went.
People were pretty motivated. They came. I was a little surprised there was no support for some of the minor candidates. Basically, everybody who came was in one of 6 groups.
When the final number of votes were accounted for, Senator Bernie Sanders came out on top with 33 votes. Mayor Buttigieg came in second, 1 vote behind Sanders at 32. Senator Amy Klobuchar and Senator Elizabeth Warren had 22 and 20 votes respectively, and former Vice President Joe Biden finished with 19 votes, despite not being viable after the first turn with Andrew Yang. Art Colin, Pulitzer Prize-winning editor of the Storm Lake Times, spoke on the importance of the Iowa caucus.
Well, the key players in this year's caucus are the citizens of Iowa. It's sort of, the ultimate in the town hall democracy. And so where you actually see people advocating for their point of view with their neighbors in a civil way. And that's really what democracy is all about.
For BVTV News, I'm Jaden Anderson.
While Jaden was here at BVU, I observed the caucus at BV County's bilingual satellite caucus location at Better Day Cafe. Here at the Better Day Cafe in downtown Storm Lake, a bilingual satellite caucus was held for the 2020 Democratic Presidential Caucus, with a larger than anticipated turnout.
BVU sophomore Matthew Meadowkeen was the precinct chair at Better Day. He said 105 people in attendance were eligible to caucus, 95% of those first-time caucusers. That number doesn't include observers and press.
The IDP severely underestimated the Latino, the Latinx population here in Storm Lake, especially the non-English speaking population.
The night started with a reading of the rules in both English and Spanish, followed by distribution of preference cards, new this year to the caucus process. The cards allowed the Iowa Democratic Party to keep track of votes on paper instead of relying on counting by caucus staff and to record more data. Before caucusers voted, precinct captains explained why people should caucus for their candidate. Captains for Sanders, Buttigieg, and Yang were the only ones in attendance.
Andrew Yang 2020!
Storm Lake is a place important to Pete. He's been here 3 times, and Storm Lake has inspired his immigration plan.
So I'd like to say thank you, and please vote for Bernie Sanders because he's going to change our lives forever.
After that, the voting got underway. What eventually became a Sanders landslide. 89 of the 105 people voting chose Senator Sanders. No other candidates at this location reached viability.
The Latinos, Latinx community loves Bernie, but when it came down to it, I didn't think it was going to be that much. I thought there might have been at least one other candidate viable.
Bernie supporters feel this cycle is different than the last time around.
There's just way more people this time out here, for him. And he's actually, like I said, he's been representing a lot of us in a good way. And there's a high hope, bigger chance this year than the last time we caucused for him.
One thing is clear after the results at this particular satellite caucus location. It may be cold in Iowa, but Buena Vista County Latinx Democratic voters are feeling the burn. Reporting the results from the caucus locations our teams attended has proved rather simple in hindsight. The Iowa Democratic Party has been mired in controversies surrounding statewide caucus returns. On caucus night, the new app introduced by state Dems designed to streamline the reporting process was experiencing a coding problem, which was misreporting incoming data. Officials put a hold on the app asking for phone reports, which also jammed the system. According to the IDP, further delays were caused by the party taking steps to review and confirm the data. By Tuesday the 4th, the IDP had only released 62% of the reporting data. 1 week later, 100% of the returns have now been released. Buttigieg and Sanders finished neck and neck in state delegates, with only one separating the two, with 13 and 12 delegates respectively. Bernie, however, edged Mayor Pete in the popular vote by 1.4% in the final vote tally. Other Democrats receiving state delegates include Senator Elizabeth Warren with 8, former Vice President Joe Biden with 6, and Senator Amy Klobuchar with 1. Despite the results being 100% reported, the Associated Press said it was still unable to declare a winner of the Democratic caucus. No surprises in the Republican results, though, as President Donald Trump walked away with 97.1% of the vote, while former Massachusetts Governor Bill Weld and former Illinois Congressman Joe Walsh tallied around 1% each. The focus of the election cycle now shifts to New Hampshire and Nevada. The New Hampshire primaries on Tuesday, the 11th, and the Nevada's First in the West caucus on Saturday, February 22nd. Well, following the caucus, the president delivered his third State of the Union address. He talked about his accomplishments over the last 3 years to what was largely Republican applause. Notable moments included First Lady Melania Trump awarding the Presidential Medal of Freedom to conservative radio talk show host Rush Limbaugh, and Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi ripping up her copy of the speech after its completion. The following morning, the Senate voted along party lines to acquit President Trump on both articles of impeachment, 52-48 on Article 1, which was abuse of power, and 53-47 on Article 2, obstruction of Congress. The lone Republican to break rank was Utah Senator Mitt Romney, who voted guilty on Article 1. With the BVU winter sports seasons drawing to a close, we are getting ready to head to a timeout, and that's a nice little tease for Tanner Frost with sports coming up after the break.
This is Buddy Beaver. He's new at BVU and wants to get involved. Overwhelmed with options, Buddy flipped on the TV. Although fascinated by the TV, he fell asleep on his sofa. Suddenly, he found himself in a dream and at sea. He was enjoying the dream until something clouded his mind. What if he never found that perfect involvement opportunity? In the midst of his worries, he spotted something. BVTV. Buddy instantly awoke with a clear mind. He could produce TV at BV. BVTV. By Beavers. For Beavers. Boo, said Buddy as he finished telling his spooky story. He loves telling all kinds of stories to his friends. That's why Buddy enjoys BVTV. Storytelling is the heart of BVTV and any good program. So if you're searching for a program with a solid story, look no further. We've got them. BVTV. By Beavers. For Beavers.
Well, like we mentioned, the BVU winter sports seasons are drawing to a close. There's been highlights, lowlights, and everything in between. Here's sports anchor Tanner Frost with what we've missed over December and January. Tanner.
The Buena Vista women's basketball team has had a rough year on the hardwood as the team sits at 1-20 overall. First-year head coach David Wells and his squad have struggled in their conference schedule, losing to highly competitive teams such as the nationally ranked Loras Duhawks and Wartburg Knights. The team's last time out was Saturday afternoon, the 8th, as the ladies hosted the Dubuque Spartans in Siebens Fieldhouse with a chance at revenge from their first season meeting. Unfortunately, the Beavers couldn't take down Dubuque and fell to the Spartans by 8, 74-66. For the men's basketball team, it's been a breakout year for fellow first-time head coach Trevor Johnson, as his squad sits at 16-5 overall, fighting for a top conference tournament seed. The men's team went on a hot streak at the turn of the decade, going on a 5-game win streak, including an overtime thriller victory at Loras. The team's last time out was also Saturday the 8th alongside the women against Dubuque, completing the season sweep over the Spartans with a 81-70 home win. Both the men's and women's teams are back in action Wednesday night, February 12th, with 4 games left on the schedule, starting against Wartburg on the road in Waverly. On the mats, the Beaver wrestling team has also seen triumph and heartbreak throughout the winter. The Beavers sit at 3-8 overall with one duel left on the schedule. The team's trio of wins under head coach Mark Ryle include a 35-12 victory over the Milwaukee School of Engineering, a 45-9 triumph over Fontbonne University, and a 28-20 win over St. John's. Friday evening, February 7th, was the team's annual ballroom brawl in Grand Ballroom in the Stevens Forum. Unfortunately, the Simpson Storm came out on top over BVU 24-16. The wrestling team finishes their regular season Friday the 14th against the Luther Norse here in Storm Lake, and then look forward to the regional tournament afterward. That's all for Beaver Athletics for this week. Back to you, Guy.
Thanks, Tanner. So you talked about it. I mean, the highs and lows for each program here, but senior night, that's Wednesday the 19th against Central, right?
Yes.
So we are going to be broadcasting that live here on BVTV. So folks, stay tuned for that one. We'll be broadcasting that to you on senior night as the teams wrap up their regular season and as the men look forward to the conference tournament. Should be an incredible conference tournament, Tanner. Is this men's basketball conference especially is stacked.
Absolutely. Nebraska Wesleyan already secured the regular season title fourth year in a row. Obviously still a dominant force.
Nationally ranked.
Of course. They were at 9 last time we played them. They took another victory over us. But of course, that's the precedent for Coach Johnson and the squad right now. And we're looking at a second, third, or fourth place finish right now. And hopefully, obviously, that secondary spot could be ours come the end of the year.
And spring sports right around the corner, too.
Absolutely.
So we'll keep an eye out on that. Question for you. Did you watch the Oscars?
I did.
Well, a big night for South Korean film highlighted the list of winners at the Oscars held in Los Angeles on Sunday, February 9th. In case you missed it, Parasite took home 4 awards, including Best Picture, Best Director for the director Bong Joon-ho, Best International Film, and Best Original Screenplay. With its groundbreaking Best Picture win, Parasite became the first non-English language film to win Best Picture in the 92-year history of the Academy Awards. Other major award winners besides Parasite and Bong Joon-ho that you see up there included Joaquin Phoenix winning Best Actor for his performance in Joker, and Renee Zellweger taking home Best Actress for her performance as Judy Garland in Judy. Incredible show last night too, Tanner. On Sunday, I should say. Incredible show. They had performances by Eminem. That one caught me by surprise. But a really entertaining show.
Absolutely, and I need to watch Parasite. Obviously,
so do I.
It went under the radar for a lot of us, but
for sure.
Apparently it deserves all the claim it's getting.
I guess so. Well, that wraps up another edition of BVTV News. We'll see you next time.